Hello and welcome back to Mike's Basement. Today we are in Star Citizen, we are in the PTU, and as you can see we are taking a look at a brand new vehicle, the Tumbril Nova Tank, or as it actually is called, the Nova Tonk. Let's talk about the differences between this tank here and a real tank. So in a real tank you would have the commander and the gunner. They will usually sit up in the tower itself. Whereas, let me just get some power on this beast here. And move it a little bit away so we can... Yeah. Doesn't seem to have any real lightings, but nevertheless. Let's get it going. Let's see if we can get outside the armistice zone. Huh. The field of view is definitely limited, just like in a real tank. Alright, we are outside of the armistice zone. Let's just go a little further. Oh. Rock. From what I can hear when you sort of stop it and drive, you can even hear the clamoring of the belts. Alright, I think we have moved far enough away. Let's turn off the lights. Let's go into the gunner seat. So we need to switch on the power and enter the remote turret. Alright. Now we're ready. Let's move the main gun. So let me just show you something. Look at this when I shoot. Boom. Alright, so this little short clip here is going to be the first out of 2 clips where we test the Tumbril Nova tank's firepower. In this test here we are going to look at how it fares against a Hercules C2 Starlifter, where in the next recording we're going to both take a look at how you can transport both a Tonk and a Ballista in a M2 Starlifter, but we'll also see how the firepower of the tank goes against said Starlifter. But like I said, in this video here we're going to test it against the C2 Starlifter, so enjoy. As you could see, even with the Tumbril Nova tank's hefty firepower, it was still not able to kill a C2 Hercules Starlifter fast. That just goes to tell how tough the C2 is. Let's go on to the next clip where we will take a look at how you can transport these vehicles. Alright, so the final thing I want to show you is how exactly we can, let me remove the chat, how exactly we can transport the Nova tank, Tonk, and also the Ballista around. So up until this patch here, which is still in the PTU, we could only transport the tank via the 890 jump. That was the only ship in the verse big enough to transport the tank and the Ballista. But now we have the second class of ships that are also better suited for it. So I have at least fitted one Ballista and one tank into a Hercules M2. Now, just like the previous clip where I afterdubbed it with my voice in order to explain what I was doing, this here is also a different time. So all of these clips that you are looking at for the Nova tank is going to be clips from different days. There's actually been a week since the first clip up until now, and that is because CIG just happened to release a patch after I have made these videos that I did, and I actually wanted to show you some more, but that patch reset the server, meaning that all my rendings, I rendered the C2, I rendered the M2, and I also rendered the Tonk, they got reset and removed, so I couldn't make any more videos, obviously, of it. So like I said, I initially wanted to wait until we got the live environment, because there I could rent them once again, and I would also get them for a week when they are actually released. But it so happens that CIG wanted to test out the Fleet Week and the expos once again in the PTU environment, and so I could rent them once again. I also managed to get a sneak peek of the Javelin tour that I'm going to show you off in a later video. But right now, let's take a look at how it looks when you stuff one Ballista and one tank into a Hercules M2 Starlifter. Let's get going. Alright, so the first thing we are obviously going to do is to get the ship out. I also got the Gladius Valiant. We might take a look at that if I get the time, but right now the important stuff is right here. So let's get the M2 out and take a look at it. Alright, I finally managed to get this M2 spawned. But I actually had to go to the Australian server instead in order for that to happen. It means that we will have a little bit more lag, but it shouldn't be a real issue. But let's go take a look at it. It's standing right down there, and you can see already now that we have both the Tumbril Nova and the Ballista inside the ship. Look at that. Even though it does look a little bit strange from behind, it is really a beaut of a ship, in my opinion. The Starlifter series. going up. There you could just get a little glimpse of them. Don't worry, we're going to take a much closer look once we have landed on Daymar. One of the other reasons that I wanted to wait a little bit to make this video was that I hope that the fact that I waited would result in the Fleet Week, the Fleet Week testing being over. So the thing is that when we have all of these, the Bengal flying around and all that, it does tax the server performance quite a bit. And so let's go to Crusader ore. I think that seems, I don't know why it won't let me do that, but let's just take off and see if that helps. Be Daymar we have right there. Yep. If I can set a course now. I can. Perfect. Alright, so Kudra ore should be in the light right now, so we have some daylight time before it goes dark. Yeah, so when CIG spawns in the Javelin and the Bengal, they do tax the servers pretty hefty. Pretty hard, meaning that the frame rates due to servers will go really much down. Just by waiting a little bit, it will mean that we can hopefully get a little bit better frame rates and a little bit better performance. Also, by flying here to some desolate place on Daymar, we can hopefully avoid, well, first of all, obviously players that want to pirate, that wants to destroy, kill, and all that. But hopefully also we can avoid situations where the lack of players in the immediate vicinity will reduce the frame rates too harshly. I'm not expecting to spend that much time down here, but I would like for us to just get a little bit distance between us and Kudra ore. Something around 20-50 kilometers, because this ship here does emit a lot of radiation. And so if I don't distance myself from Kudra ore, someone flying near that might be able to pick us up. I will turn off as much as I can, but it will still emit a great deal. Alright, let's see if... I think this should be enough. Alright, let's see how it looks. Yeah, it seems to be fairly flush with the ground. Alright, let's get out and take a look at all of this. One interesting thing is that I've noticed is that the elevator seems to reset itself when you start the ship, because we took the elevator up here, but then it suddenly goes down to the cargo area. So let's go down and take a look at how it looks when we have both a Ballista and a Tumbril Nova inside the cargo area in this ship here. Look at this. Now, it is not exactly a fit where you can sort of say that you could. There's a lot of room here, but there is room to the sides on both sides, and you have this little cutout or whatever you want to call it that enables us to enable the ability to have the missiles in here as well. There is one thing I noticed, and I can try to show you that. That is that for some reason it seems that. Try to see. So CIG said that they have fixed the sound when we open the hangar here, so the hangar door. So that was why I stopped talking. There certainly is sound. Let's open the bag as well. There we go. Yes, one of the things I noticed that I found to be a little bit strange is that the Tumbril, the Nova tank, can get completely stuck on the way up the ramp. It's almost like it has to have some sort of run up before it can get there, and that to me seems a little bit strange. All right, let's turn it up and drive it out. Turn it on. Alright. Let me just turn the engine off if I can figure out where that is happening. Power off, engine off there. Alright. I think I'm going to turn it completely off. CIG did claim that they have fixed the problem with the exploding tank, but I'm not taking any chances. Well, it did survive. Well, it certainly is a good thing that I wasn't going to try to drive up the front ramp, because that is not flush with the ground. Let's take a look at the back ramp, the rear ramp, to see if that is flush. Yeah, it is. Alright, that's good. Maybe I should consider backing this out. No, we're just going to go the same way as the Nova. So one of the nice things about having the this ship here is that this is weird. The C2 and the M2, they are designed for having these vehicles inside them. Whereas the 890 Jump, while it can hold a Nova tank or a Ballista, they are not really meant for it. Alright, so let's take a look at the Tumbril Nova from the outside. Now, one of the things you may notice is that you look out from this area here. But as you can see, this is a solid tank. So one of the ideas, one of the notions that I had was that this must be some kind of screen that you have in there that I connected to some kind of 3D imaging camera, maybe something of the sort that sits down here or anywhere on the tank. One of the things that I think is a little bit weird. Now, I would say this. When I was in the military, I had the privilege of being in the anti-armor division, meaning that we were the guys that would actually try to take out these vehicles here, the tanks. So we were hiding in Humvees, and then we would use those Humvees to try to take out tanks with something called a tow. Well, we did call it a missile, but it was probably more of a rocket. But nevertheless, that's what we used. So while I have absolutely no experience of being a tank gunner or driving a tank or anything like that. I do have a little bit of experience with tanks, and I do have a little bit of experience with, well, what tanks can do, what are their capabilities, and how you fight them. Also, I know a little bit about how they are structured. So let's compare the Tumbril Nova with the tank that I know best. That is the Danish Leopard tank, Leopard 1, and the newer Leopard 2. Now, when I say Danish, I mean Danish as in the tank that the Danish army is using, not a Danish constructed tank. The Leopard tank is constructed in Germany. So we cannot take the honor for that, but we do use that tank and obviously customize it for our own needs. What do I can't get up there now? That is weird. Nevertheless. So the structure of the Leopard tank, both Leopard 1 and Leopard 2, is that the driver is sitting in a little hole. I think it's around here. It's just below the main tower. Maybe it's in the middle or in the side. I can't remember. The driver has two positions. He can sit with the head up and the hatch open, and then he can look out from just above, just flush over the front of the tank and drive it around. Now, I'm not sure whether the Leopard 1 and Leopard 2 were upgraded just like the APCs we used. The old versions of the APCs we used had two handles. So basically one handle controlling one set of wheels and one handle controlling the other set of wheels, and then depending on whether you moved it forward or backward or you shifted it around, you would make the APC turn or go forward or backward and all that. You can imagine that if you sort of you have endless opportunities to how you can control it by moving these two levers back and forth. The newer version of the APCs had a real wheel that you could turn, and then I'm pretty sure they also had brakes and a speeder, so just like driving in a car, or more like driving a car. So depending on how much speed you gave it and how you turned the wheel, these two would move independently of each other in order to do to drive the vehicle around as you would expect it to do. So as I said, I don't know whether the tanks that we used had that kind of of controls. But I do know that the driver was sitting just around here. The gunner and the commander was sitting up in the tower, so you would also have a hatch here where the commander could look out, and you would have the gunner sitting down in the in the turret itself, looking out through the different viewports that he had, the different instruments and all that, just like the one we have right here. That is probably some kind of instrument to use to aim the turret, the main cannon. And obviously, it also had an extra light machine gun sitting on top of the turret that the commander could use to shoot any infantry, anything like that. And they had these smoke pipes sitting right here. Some of them could also be used to remove. There was usually also some, if I'm not mistaken, sitting on the front of the tank that could be sort of shot out and try to explode any anti-tank mines that would be sitting around the tank. All right, so let's compare that with the Tumbril Nova. Let's look at the timeline. The Leopard 1 and 2, and especially the version 2, is from our timeline, so that's roughly around 2000, and they were being phased into the Danish army around 2004, I think it was 2003, somewhere around there. So they are relatively old. Here we have a tank that is almost in the 30th century, so obviously there are going to be some differences. But nevertheless, let's talk about the main characteristics of the tank is exactly the same. You have a main gun, you have support guns, you have these lava feet, I'm not sure, belt-driven wheels to give it better traction and better stability when driving. So let's go inside and compare. Now, as to my best knowledge, neither of these tanks, and if I'm not mistaken, also the American Abrams tank and all that, you can't enter it like this. You don't have a hatch that you go into. You usually enter it from the top, so you would go straight down into the gunner's area, or you would go down into the front where you have the driver. Now, as you can see here, the driver here does have a wheel to use, and the secondary gunner over here, I can show you that, does have just controls, and he can use the secondary turret. Now, I've been told that when you're driving the tank, you can actually shoot with the main gun, but you have to do it by moving your mouse around. Yeah, just press G, and then you have control over the main gun. So obviously you're obviously hindered by let's just suppress overall IR. So this is how it looks when the main gun is extended, and as you can see, now it looks more like how you would expect a tank like this to look. And now you can see one of the things I find to be a little bit weird is that it really can't stay put. It will drive on its own, even if you press the brakes. Which is honestly a little bit annoying. It shouldn't do that. But let's compare how it performs. Let's take a look. I'm going to use my joystick now to drive it around. Let's first look at inside it. So just like a real tank, I would say, you do have restricted field of view. Now, the field of view that you have here is definitely much better than the field of view you would have when you are sitting down in a closed tank. You have to know that when you're driving a modern tank today, most of the tanks use what is called a periscope. So that's basically a prism that extends from inside the tank to the outside of the tank. So look at this. But in my opinion, the general behavior of the Tumbril Nova seems to be what I would expect of a tank. Let's take a look from outside. And even the sound, you can hear it clamoring. The bells clamor when you start it. Listen to this. That is what you would hear in a real tank, and also an a belt-driven APC. Now, what I cannot show you, but is present both in the Tumbril and also a modern tank, is that the tower is gyro driven, meaning that the cannon where it points is completely independent of where the tank is driving. Let's turn it on and into the remote turret. Now, as you can see, this is one of the things I find to be a little bit weird. It seems that the viewport of the tank, the tower, seem to be coming somewhere around. Let me see if I can show you. Somewhere around there. Those little a little bit above those, maybe even below, where you have the red eye there, where you have the two gunners, the two secondary guns. Show you again. You can see that? It seems to be sort of along the side of the turret and not underneath it. That, to me, is a little bit strange, but that may be that the little light that you saw beneath is actually a lamp and not just a regular. So here's the Ballista. Can we see the ship? Now we're back at the front. So where's that? Let me see if I can find it. It's behind there. So if I shoot, I'll just hit the rock. So this gun here should give roughly around, I think it was around 5,000 damage per shot, the main gun. So let's do some target practice. Oh, I need to turn on the engine, obviously. That turning, that is very realistic. So if I stop it completely, you can see one is going to forward and the other is going backward. That was what you were doing with the two handles. So if you put one handle all the way forward and the other handle all the way backward, you would get that behavior of the tank. Now, one of the things that I can perhaps complain a little bit about the Tumbril Nova. Let me just see if I can find a good spot. So one of the ways that you would usually place a tank like this in order to offer maximal protection is that you would try to find some kind of natural environment that could protect the tank from enemy fire. Look at this. That's so weird. Oh yeah, so one way you could do that was to find a little hill like this. Let me see if I can find a good spot to place it. Whoop. Wrong button. There we go. Let's see. Where is our 2 targets? Once again, it's behind a rock. Alright, let me see if I can. Now, one way, as far as I know it, you would place a tank in a protected environment. Use the environment to your advantage. Would be to have the gunner actually pointing the gun in the direction where you would expect to see your targets. So you would, and it actually seems that I should move it up forwards. Let's try to do that instead. Let me go inside so I can just barely see the C2. If I can get to see the Ballista as well. Now it cannot go up again. It's so weird. This is a problem. It will drive down again. But as far as I remember it, it's the usual way that you would hide your tank. Park it like that on a hill, or you could dig out a hole yourself. Using the you could put a little kind of shovel in front of the tank. that could dig out a hole, and then you would use that as natural protection, so that basically the only thing that should be visible from outside the tank would be the tower. Anything else would be below that little ridge line that you had, and so the tank would be protected. So let's make some target practice here. Let's try to take care of the ballista here. Let's see if I can hit it. I'm not sure I hit it, but let's try again. Because we can. Let me just show you how tough this actually is. Alright, let's try to get a little bit closer and use the secondary gun on the ballista. Because obviously the... wow. That was weird. Alright, let's turn on the engines. Oh, I can go into the remote turret here. What is that? That is exactly the same. Let's see if I can drive it while I do that. Probably cannot, but let's see. Engine on. See how fast it can go. Alright, let's try to go into the secondary turret and use that with Gatlings. Test it out. I'm pretty sure that it will only take one shot from the ballista. Let's see. Alright, so that's a laser cannon. Pretty okay tough, but let's try to take out the ballista with the main gun. Oh, it can drive. Alright. Ready? I'm not sure I'm actually hitting it. Let's try to hit it here. There we went. Alright. Let me show you. Let's go up and take a look at it. I'm pretty sure it looks blown out now. the way that the tank sort of... let me see if I can show you it once again. Oh, wow. Let me see if I can show you it, but the way that the tank sort of... when you start it, it seems like it sort of is making a jump upwards. That is actually pretty realistic. We can make it to... You can see it sort of looks upward. That is very realistic. That is how it would do in real life. Alright, let me show you the final problem there is with the Tumbril Nova that I think that CIG should fix before it goes to live. It seems that you lose traction when you turn, which you shouldn't. So let me show you here. Look at that. Whenever I try to correct it, it will go backwards, which it shouldn't. Alright, let's see how much this this ship can take, and then I will see you in the next video. Alright, let's go take a look at it. This is where you can easily see the effects of the ballistic shots. They go right through the hull and the shields. Let's see if we can take it out. The last part of it. There goes one of the wings. Oh, that was a big hole. I don't think it's going to take much more. Let's try to get it right here. Oh, big hole. I can scan it. Yeah, I can. 80%. Oh, we don't have any more shots? I didn't think we could. Oh well. Suppose it makes perfect sense that we can run out of shots. Let's see if we can take it with this one. Alright, I don't think we're going to do so much damage to that ship. Let's drive the Nova tank inside and see how much damage we actually did. And then we're going to wrap this video up here. Turn on some lights. Because the sun is also setting here. I think this video is long enough. Let's see if it's going to blow up when we run out. And go! No, no boom. Perfect. Alright, let's close up the hatches and go take a look at our badly damaged ship. see how the cockpit looks, if it has changed on the outside or in the inside, or it's only on the outside. No changes, but let's see. So self status. That is actually not that bad. We didn't do that much damage to it. So even though the Tumbril Nova tank does have a really powerful main engine, it isn't actually that powerful again. Nevertheless, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I will definitely see you in the next one. Bye bye.